said, we are back on resumption, post-election activities. Some have even said post-election reconciliations. So things are basically going on, and we are back to the usual topics and, content in our syllabus. Well, Imo community laments as herdsmen destroy farmlands and crops. Well, we are back. The people of Obosa Asa community in Ohaji Egbema local government area of Imo State have decried the continued occupation and destruction of their farmland and crops by Fulani herdsmen. Well, I might not really say resumption. Maybe it's just been going on, but not necessarily on a big scale as it was before. But due to the election and the hype and the attention on basically the elections, we have basically neglected all other aspects of the news. So maybe we are just catching up, because if the people have decried for a continued destruction of their farmlands by herdsmen, then this does not signify or insinuate there was a pause anyways. Speaking to Sunday Punch in separate interviews on Thursday, the people who are predominantly farmers urged Governor Hope Uzodinma and the State Commissioner of Police Mohammed Bird to come to their rescue. They said since March, herdsmen have continued to occupy their farmland and destroy their crops, causing famine in the community. The chairman of the community security committee, Monday Okwaraji, a retired police officer, said the herders had increased tension in the community with their continuous occupation of their farmland. He said, "We call on the state government to avert bloodshed in our community by directing the herdsmen to vacate our farmlands. We are restraining our youth from confronting them." Exactly. This is the problem, because more likely than not, in how these cases have been in the past, the government doesn't look, or the government is never as proactive and on time to deal with these issues. And so the comment that has just been made saying we are restraining our youths from confronting them is what eventually happens. The youth will have to confront them. Why? Because the people, it will get to a point where it gets so intense that you're not able to call them. You're not able to sit and just watch your farmlands be destroyed. And, the reactions from the government ever since is always, for the people. The reaction from the government has always been so slow, so sluggish. However, if it is, let's say, IPOB, if it is a movement that just seems to show progress or unity, damn, the government is definitely on business to sort it out. But if you look at even Boko Haram, you look at the bandits and all this, and they've never really addressed these issues as they should have. But now, you look at this situation, nothing happens. So again, more likely than not, you actually have the youth then having to defend themselves. Vigilante groups are going to be made. I've really now forgotten the security part of IPOB, but then, they would most likely, jump on defending their people. So to me, it really doesn't make sense. And I don't know. But we are basically back to what things were, how they were as well. And obviously, you always call to the state government will call on the federal government. It's like you can't even look for anyone to defend you. And so, it's crazy. Very interesting as well. The herdsmen are harvesting cassava farms with their cows. How can they do this? Dividend of any APC controlled state. Wow, interesting. Hope Uzodinma is an epidemic and thorns on the flesh of his people, but whatever has started in the beginning will equally have an end. Well, would it have an end? Because this just sounds like an approach where you know what, let's just see what happens. You just let it happen. You don't take control. You don't fight. You don't do anything. And that's what happens. So you basically become a victim because you have no control. And that has been the approach in Nigeria, especially in how we approach politics or any change that requires us to do a little bit of work. We just don't last. It's sad. Let's go. And the comment: has this Fulani forgotten that Buhari is no longer empowered to protect them? I mean, it's not even like, because I feel like it's a bit imbalanced to ask for the president every single time to address to every issue. Of course, he's like the first representative of your government, yes. But you also have to understand that it's like, if the state, within its capacity and power, fails to protect its citizens, why, like, going to the government or the president actually to do something about it just doesn't make sense. Anti-open grazing is the best way to deal with all this nonsense, and I'm personally of that same opinion, but you have the government also kind of defending, or even these bodies like Mieti Allah, his name Macban, coming out to say, well, it's their right, it's the right of them as Nigerians, they own the land. And I'm like, we live in a civil society where trespass is an offense. So if it's farmland, if it's somebody's house, you cannot go for whatever reason, but the fact that you do not own it is enough. So whether you bring your cows, you bring your chickens, you bring your family, you trespass because it's not your property. But then the argument that we are all Nigerian and we should all, it's like, again, it's the level of thinking. So with these actions, if anti-open grazing policies are taken very seriously, then we can, talk about something. But if we don't even protect our own people in the state, so now with all the arguments and all the concerns of these herdsmen, if the state itself, how does the state itself respond to emergencies? How does the state itself respond to the needs of the people? For example, there could be a phase where in this particular community, people are being kidnapped. In all these little cases, because again, when it comes to the big stuff, you can't perform when you haven't gotten used to executing on the small stuff. So it's like when it comes to just kidnapping, I'm not saying that kidnapping is small or this husband thing is bigger, but what I'm saying is that when it comes to little crimes here and there, the government has not practiced being proactive or executing, an operation where your intention is to keep people safe. They haven't done that well enough to then expect them to do good. So it's all a ripple effect. We never cry on the small things because we think we can handle them. So when it is looking out of our control, we call for the government. Listen, put what you think in the comment section below, and do not forget to like and subscribe.